Good evening, everyone. I'm thankful for you all to give me this opportunity to be in this prestigious platform in this prestigious institute. When you look at this terminology called chasing the North Star, there's so many connotations, so many words, sentences, emotions come to your mind. And the person who is reading this concept has understood it. I have tried to kind of divide it into three aspects, and in next 15 minutes, I would walk you all through about this concept of chasing the North Star, the way I look at it. When you heard the previous speaker saying about the North Star, basically, since ancient time in the northern hemisphere, when the sailors sailed through the vastness of sea and the darkness of skies, especially in the Arctic Sea, they chose to use the North Star as their guide, the Polaris. So when we talk metaphorically in our life, we talk about something that gives us direction and purpose in life. You have to have a guiding principle, you have to have a source of inspiration and a deeply meaningful goal. And when you set a goal, you have to be committed to that goal. You have to have you make it into a personal mission, a passionate kind of endeavor, and then you be prepared to navigate through all the challenges with a steadfast focus. So for me, the North Star in my 8th standard was to become an MBBS doctor. And my idol was our family physician at that point in time. A tall, handsome man, very well dressed, shining black leather shoes, a confident confident demeanor, which will immediately instill confidence in his patients. Robust clinical knowledge, impeccable clinical diagnosis, and perfect treatment. The patient has to get better. And even today, he is 72 years old. He is practicing with the same fervor. So he was my idol. Thankfully, I did not have a problem of plenty when I decided to become a doctor. Unlike my other friends in that point in time, guys and girls, who were good in maths, they were good in physics, so they were confused whether they have to go in engineering or medicine. Thankfully, I was pathetic in maths. And after taking a lot of beating from my mother in 3rd, 4th, and 5th standard, I developed a lot of phobia. And I was naturally good in biology. So for me, the focus was very, very simple. I had to become a doctor. Now as it goes, that once you decide to get into engineering or medicine, you're literally married to books. Your friends and family is enjoying the festivities, different moments, holiday, this, that, but you're stuck with your book. You have to study hard. And so did I. Studied hard in 10th standard, studied hard in 12th standard, and thankfully got into a very prestigious institute of Mumbai, that is Topiwala National Medical College, affiliated with BYL Nair Charitable Hospital. Now this place not only taught us to become good doctors, but they literally encouraged all sorts of activities that we were interested in, be it cricket, be it music, any other extracurricular activity. As a result, we not only became good doctors, but we came out as good persons, good personalities, evolved personalities. While doing my final MBBS and during my internship, I set my goal once again that I wanted to do my post-graduation in respiratory medicine, MD in chest and TB. But midway through my internship, a health scare struck my family. My father suffered from cancer of the breast. A male suffering from cancer of the breast was a really unheard phenomena. Now also there are very rare cases, and in late 90s, there are very less number of reported cases all over the world. But thanks to his strong will, and thanks to his and my mother's spiritual will, and thanks to the surgical and medical oncologists, that he recovered out of it. He underwent surgery, chemotherapy, radiotherapy, etc. And he went on to live 24 more healthy years in his life. And he did not have any diabetes, blood pressure, anything. So during that period, there was an economic and logistical setback that we suffered. And there was a lot of societal pressure on me that you are just about to become a doctor, why don't you start practicing? Nobody knows whether your father is going to recover completely, whether he can join back on his duties, whether he can earn money again for your family. So there was a lot of societal pressure on me. But thankfully, there was no pressure on me from my parents. Till date, I do not know how they managed those economic and logistical setbacks, but they stood by my side. They did not say a single word. They did not say that do this, do that, or okay, we are there, or you do not worry, we will arrange money. Nothing they said. They just stood by my dream. And here, I realize that even if you are the captain of the ship who wants to pursue a particular direction with the help of your North Star, it is your crew, it is your team members that matter. And here, my team was my parents who stood by my side. And thankfully, almost an year through all this ordeal, we came out of this. My father became all right, and I could get into doing my post-graduation. So, in real life, things are not filmy. I was very thankful to my parents for not being filmy, and I did not have to go through this. When I entered my MD, I again got into a very prestigious institute, that is Grand Medical College, Sir JJ Group of Hospitals, and I started doing my MD in GT Hospital. I was lucky enough to have excellent teachers, postgraduate teachers who were excellent clinicians, who gave me certain core values. Passion I always had, and then I ended up developing some kind of long-term vision. After my MD, I actually wanted to be a teacher for a while in a medical school, but there were no openings at that point in time. So I chose to go into private practice immediately. The moment I entered private practice, I realized that things cannot be the same as you learned. The basic principles of medicine, diagnosis, treatment will remain the same, but the way you apply it changes. Because the terrain every day is going to be different. When you are chasing the North Star, you are not talking only about ship and sailors. You can chase your North Star also from the terrain. You're climbing mountains. Next day you are into a river, swimming through the river. You're walking through tall grasses, maybe through lots of serpents and various animals. You're walking through desert, which will test the tenacity of your will to live. So many things will happen. So, in my endeavor of private practice, I started learning that every patient is going to teach me something new every day. There is a concept in Japanese called as Kaizen, where they say that you have to train and retrain yourself so as to keep yourself professionally relevant in that point in time. So, thankfully in our profession, there are so many conferences, hands-on programs, continuous medical education programs happening. But even I had to push myself out of my comfort zone to go and learn certain things called as interventional pulmonology. Means there are certain endoscopic procedures that we do for respiratory illnesses. And I had to literally push myself out of my comfort zone to learn all that. So this training and retraining is very, very important. So you have to understand that your terrain is going to change every time. One needs dedication, passion, perseverance. But even your team needs all that. Only you having is not enough. Now, I am privileged to be the director of respiratory medicine and lung transplant in a very prestigious institute in Mumbai, and I have my own team. I have to keep them interested in a way that I have to impart the knowledge that I have with me, and I have to make them or stimulate them to think on their own, to think out of the box, that what kind of solutions we can find to make our patients better. Every case is different. We have to keep thinking out of box. As I said, although the core principles of medicine, diagnosis, and treatment remain the same, the principles keep changing. And here, I have a very interesting icon for me again, and that is none other than RD Burman, beloved Panchamda. He's the god of music for me. I'm sure he's the god of music for millions from my generation and for millions from the subsequent generation. He used the same musical instruments very interestingly in a very different way when he came into field of film music. And he devised certain musical instruments which did not even exist when he started his journey. And if you follow his course of career, he has given music to close to 300 movies. Every 3 to 4 years, he has used certain different notations. He has used certain different instruments. The way he has used his orchestration is slightly different. Every 3 to 4 years, you will definitely see this change. And this is where I follow RD Burman, that even in my field, although the basic principles remain the same, we should be able to give the best possible outcome to our patients. And this is a very interesting picture. You will see two things in this picture which are contrasting in a very weird way for me at least. I'm passionate about both these things in a very contrasting fashion. One is, of course, RD Burman, and I'm passionate about him. And the next thing is the cigarette in his mouth. Since the time I started my private practice, I somehow made it a mission, you can say, that I started doing a lot of public discourses. I've done a lot of podcasts with famous podcasters, they are available on the internet, about the hazards of smoking and tobacco in general. So let me quickly take a couple of minutes to say what I have been saying about smoking in those podcasts or in my public discourses. That every cigarette has nicotine and 4,000 chemicals. The nicotine keeps your brain hooked onto the cigarette. And that nicotine, so-called, is needed to give you a kick to your brain so that you are more productive in your work, or you're more giving you more energy in your artistic endeavors, etc. We will keep that topic aside. What is important is these 4,000 chemicals have 300 known carcinogens in it. That means for last 60 years, we know that these 300 chemicals give rise to different type of cancers. Not only cancers of mouth or food pipe, windpipe, lung, etc. But unfortunately, female smoking is going up. So it causes breast cancer, ovarian cancer, uterine cancer, etc. These chemicals also cause increase in the viscosity of the blood, and it causes clots in the arteries going towards brain and heart, and cause heart attack and stroke. And those women who are smoking, the progeny is going to be unhealthy. There are premature births, an asthmatic child is born. So our next generation is really going to be unhealthy. So these are the hazards of smoking. And vaping is equally bad, because vaping also has certain chemicals like formaldehyde, etc. So they are disastrous for our respiratory system. So I took this opportunity to kind of educate you all through my icon RD Burman, because he is using a contrasting voice against which I have been voicing out. Now, my third aspect about looking at North Star is 24 years into clinical practice and hoping to have 24 more years, productive years in this field. Can I become the North Star? I wanted to become a teacher in a medical school, but I could not become. I'm into private practice, very busy. I'm into a couple of corporate hospitals, busy by God's grace. But can I not give any message because I'm not a teacher in a medical school? Yes, I always can. And for that, I'll take help of Sir William Osler. This quote is found on the first page of our textbook of surgery, Bailey and Love. He says that he who studies medicine without books sails an uncharted sea. But he who studies medicine without patients does not go to the sea at all. So studying and all is good, but you have to interact with more and more patients. You have to take history from the patient. You have to clinically examine the patient, form a diagnosis, and then to To confirm the diagnosis, you can do certain tests. Or to see the severity of the disease, you can do certain tests. And in today's world of internet, to prove your point to the patient who has come up with a different diagnosis of himself after reading the internet, that no, this is my diagnosis and this is the way I want to prove it to you. But first, be a good clinician. That is my message to my younger colleagues. Unfortunately, at times we see that there are two warring parties. On one side, there is a doctor, and the other side, there are patients and his relatives. Actually, the warring parties should be like this. Doctor, patient, and the relatives on one side, and the disease on the other side. And this is possible with good communication, and that is possible if you're confident about your diagnosis and the way you convey it to the patient. So, in this era of fast-changing technology, AI coming in, so on and so forth, certain things do not change. The North Star is where it is. Similarly, these principles will remain where they are. And it is good that certain things remain constant in this fast-changing world. Now, a parting message for all of us. If we are able to open each of those trillions of air sacs that are seen in this picture, called as alveoli, and if we are able to open one of those or all of those billions of small respiratory tubes called as bronchioles, and if we are able to spread it on a flat surface, it is the area of a lawn tennis court. Can you imagine? What a wonder by Mother Nature. Such a beautiful thing, made so compact, placed in our thoracic cavity, so that we can breathe in the beautiful oxygen, which in our culture is called as pranavayu. Because you need, each and every cell of our body needs that pranavayu, needs that oxygen. So let's pledge and take good care of our lungs, our respiratory health. And 3-4 simple things to do that. One is have fresh fruit and a lot of veggies. Second, of course, do not smoke or vape. Third, do not create a lot of indoor air pollution unnecessarily. Stop burning mosquito coils or incense sticks, camphor, candle, etc. And fourth is please do exercise, and whatever exercises you do, please add pranayam and Surya Namaskar to it. In short, सांस ले मामू. Thank you.